Speaking of getting canceled and being done, let's talk about, I'm saying it right, I hope, Riyadh. Riyadh? Someone just give me a thumbs up or a yes in the comments saying Riyadh, right? There is big drama around this Saudi Arabia comic festival called Riyadh Comedy Festival, and a bunch of very successful comics from America that you all know that are going and being part of this comedy festival, and people are not happy about it because, as you guys would probably understand, Saudi Arabia, there's a lot of moral issues about going to Saudi Arabia, considering Saudi Arabia. um, so basically, the roster, this festival that runs in Riyadh, runs between September 26th through October 9th. So it's almost over. And the roster includes some of the biggest names in comedy: Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., shocking that he's still around, Jimmy Carr, Kevin Hart, Sebastian Maniscalco, Aziz Ansari, Andrew Schultz, Whitney Cummings, and Hannibal Buress, and Pete Davidson, and more. There's a lot of people that are talking about it, and there's a lot of angry people about it. And for example, just this last weekend, or September 23rd, on Theo Vaughn's podcast, Theo Vaughn asked Pete about the festival. And he said, hold on, let me get the clip here. He said there's a lot of people that say people are getting paid by this Middle Eastern money, right? And that they can say this or that they can say that, or that they're over there, that they're trying to influence you guys in order to speak certain ways, Theo Vaughn said. Are you part of that conspiracy theory, or is that nothing you're on? I've heard there's subreddits, Pete says. I've heard there's subreddits of like, I think all these people are in bed with that. I just, I get the routing, and then I see the routing. And then I see the number and I go, I'll go. I've been getting a little bit of flack just because my dad died in 9/11. So they're like, how could you possibly go there? Because 15 of the 19 hijackers, you guys, on 9/11 were Saudi nationals. And lawsuits have alleged links between the Saudi government and the attackers. So it feels a little bit of a backwards issue that you would take money, this is my personal feelings, take money from, the Saudi government, terrorists that basically attacked America when they, killed your dad. And there's a lot of other people that just basically took a paycheck and they're just throwing their morals over money, their money over morals. And that's just supposed to be okay. It's just interesting these days what certain people get canceled for versus what other people just kind of throw under the bus. Now, some people are not having it, right? Some people are not having it and are really upset. Of course, there are some people like David Cross, who was, of course, one of the actors on Arrested Development. I can't remember his character's name now. I always remember Job. That was Will Arnett. What was David Cross's name on that show? You guys will tell me. And there's a lot of other comedians that are standing up and saying, like, what the F? Because the paycheck was so big and it is so expensive. But a lot of people are feeling pretty disappointed in comedians that are just willing to take money wherever they go. Now, these comedians would be very upset, from people that maybe they were upset at maybe Snoop Dogg for performing at Trump's inauguration. People that feel upset, Tobias, thank you. Tobias, that was David Cross, that are upset about people that would take money from the political party that they don't want, or perform in a country that they don't support. So these things are very, very challenging to kind of navigate. It kind of comes down to what your personal opinion is. I think it's an interesting story. Now, it was talked about here a little. I have a little video of different comedians reacting to the news. Let's pull it up. This is on TikTok. NBC News kind of put together a uh, little compilation of comedians reacting.
It's good. I admire that.
Then they doubled the bag, and I was like, but I'd already said no. I took a principled stand.
Yeah, against Saudi Arabia.
I mean, how do you even promote that?
I've been getting a little bit of flack just because, like, my dad died 9/11, so they're like, how could you possibly go there?
In the world of comedy and controversy,
an amazing show, an amazing crowd.
Tonight, some big comics drawing a line in the sand and blasting some big names scheduled to perform at the ongoing Riyadh Comedy Festival put on by Saudi Arabia. The bill reads like the who's who of comedy, the likes of Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Aziz Ansari, Pete Davidson, and Louis C.K. And on the podcast circuit, some comedians are talking about how much they say they're being paid.
They're paying me $375,000 for one show. Now, a lot of other people are getting $1.6 million.
But with the money comes censorship rules. Otsko Okatska saying she declined the invitation and posted a screenshot of stipulations. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the royal family, and any religion are off limits. NBC News reached out to Saudi event organizers but have not heard back to independently confirm the rules. Tim Dillon joking about Saudi Arabia on his own podcast.
I was fired from the Riyadh Comedy Festival. My agent called me and he said they heard what you said about them having slaves.
Human Rights Watch says the watchdog organization has documented a soaring surge in executions this year and human rights violations.
The Riyadh Comedy Festival is part of Mohammed bin Salman's deliberate strategy to deflect attention from the reality of the human rights crisis in Saudi Arabia.
The festival coinciding with the 7th anniversary this month of the assassination of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi.
So obviously there's like political ramifications. There's not ramifications. There's like connections that are just kind of shady to that region. So a lot of people are questioning people's morals. And of course, you know, when David Cross spoke out of it, not saying that he is like the end all be all, but he is a peer to these people, obviously. He's ripping comics for playing Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. He says, he posted on his site last week and he said, I'm disgusted and deeply disappointed in the whole gross thing. The people that I admire with unarguable talent would condone this totalitarian fiefdom. Fiefdom? How do you say that? For what? A fourth house, a boat, more sneakers? He added, these are some of my heroes. Now, look, some of you folks don't stand for anything, so you don't have any credibility to lose. But my God, Dave and Louie and Bill and Jim Carr, clearly you guys don't give a shit about what the rest of us think. But how can any of us take you seriously ever again? All of your bitching about cancel culture and freedom of speech and all of that shit, done. You don't get to talk about it ever again. By now, we've seen all the contract you had to sign. You're performing for literally the most oppressive regime on earth. This is truly the definition of blood money. Your hypocrisy will never not be noted. And then podcaster Mark Maron said of the festival, I mean, how do we even promote that? You know, like from the folks that brought you 9/11, 2 weeks of laughter in the desert. Don't miss it. So it's obviously like a very contested situation. Half people are okay with it and half the people are like, this is a line in the sand. You know, not to be like pun intended, I guess, a line in the sand. Here is the lineup for the comedy festival. A bunch of very, very familiar faces. And they have no money issues at all in terms of like, there's no ceiling for how much money they can spend. It is very, very, very hypocritical of a lot of these people that are really big on screaming about freedom of speech and about rights for all and about human rights. And it's super hypocritical. I mean, that's what you can say. This is where you have to say, question all of these celebs. when they scream at the top of their lungs about human rights and about world politics and about political stuff and about all of these things, I think it's really, really important to question everything a celebrity does. Whenever a big celebrity makes a stand politically or a moral choice or tells us what they should and shouldn't believe in, I say, thank you, next. Thank you, next. Thank you, next. I don't care because clearly, if you get paid enough, you will change your mind. You will do whatever needs to be done. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And ultimately, at the end of the day, popularity, I should say, your paycheck matters. That's what matters. Like, what's going to buy you your house? I'm sure $1 million sounds a lot better than feeling like a good person for the hour. That's what I feel. So just remember that about all these celebrities that everyone looks up to so much, and everyone's like, oh my God, please say this when you're like watching them on stage, like, say it, please put it on your Instagram. It would make such a difference to me. It doesn't matter. They're all bullshit.